and gentlemen, good evening, and welcome to this week's edition of On the Mark, Straight Talk Across the Narrows. I am Troy Liebert, and I will be your host for this evening. And this evening, we promise to have a jam-packed and wonderful show. You know, on my way coming here to the studios of Vaughan Radio, just as I entered Bath Village, I was greeted by a wonderful shower of rain. So the rains are falling now. The place is getting green again. There was a drought that was predicted for this year, but thank God the rain is falling. The place is getting green, and the animals can get food, and the plants for the farmers and so on. The plants can get some water. The government's water system can get some help. We can replenish the wells and so on. So by the grace of God, the rains are falling, and it's a wonderful thing. I actually had to spend an extra 2 or 3 minutes in the vehicle waiting for the rain to blow off, but I did not mind. And if the rain wasn't going to stop before the time that I needed to come in, I have an umbrella with me, and I was going to run out in the rain. But I enjoy the fact that the rain is falling, and I think we can all say to God be the glory. So it's 2 hours of straight talk across the narrows. The beautiful thing about On the Mark, it's 2 hours of uninterrupted talk, and I get a lot of help when I'm here. Leave me to talk for 2 hours, I could probably bat it out, but that wouldn't be so interesting. So I get a lot of help from the callers. On the Mark show is what it is because of all of you who tune in Wednesday after Wednesday, regardless of who the host is. If it's me, if it's the show's regular host, the Honorable Mark Brantley, who is overseas. I think he just celebrated his anniversary. So let me take the opportunity here from On the Mark, his show, to say happy belated anniversary to the Honorable Mark Brantley and to Sharon Brantley, his lovely wife. I hope you all are having a wonderful time. Folks, when you work hard every now and again, you deserve a little break. I don't get much of a break, but I think Mark deserves a break. So he's taking a little break, not anything too big, but it's well deserved. So again, Premier, I want to say enjoy it, and do enjoy the anniversary. Love is something that is to be cherished, not for me to give advice on love. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark, and I want to welcome all of you. Of course, we know that this is an international show. People listen to On the Mark from all over. We got folks in Taiwan who are tuned in, and I want to say a big shout out to the Republic of China on Taiwan. They just donated 12 cars to the police force. I think 12 is the number. Taiwan just keeps giving and giving. So a big shout out to Taiwan. They are a dear friend of St. Kitts and Nevis, and they don't just talk about friendship. They show it in very, very tangible ways. When you on the road, you see all kind of things: school buses, police vehicles, all kind of things that come from Taiwan. So we want to say a big shout out to them, and a big shout out to all those persons who are in Taiwan and are listening to the show. About what time it is. I know it's already Thursday there, so big shout out to you. A little closer to home, those folks who are up at 1:12, 1, 2 in the morning over there in Europe, in England, folks stay up, because they want to be connected to the home front. You want to know what's going on in the Federation, and On the Mark is probably the best place to get that type of information. Tonight definitely is one of the best places to get that information, because I'm going to have some special guests here with me. In a few, I'll announce who my special guests are, and we're going to have some good and pertinent information for everybody. So I want to welcome in those folks from Europe, back here in the Western Hemisphere. You know, people listen to On the Mark from as far as Canada in the north, all the way down to Guyana in the south. I want to believe people listening in Peru and all those type of places, you know, but I'm not sure. So, but I know for a fact that we have many, many people who listen to On the Mark in Canada. Folks talk to me from Canada all the time, so I want to give them a big shout out. Of course, all over the United States, you know, New York, Texas, um, Virginia, everywhere in the United States, Florida, all over on the West Coast in California and so on. We got people listening to On the Mark, and then of course, all over the Caribbean, we have Nivisions and Kititians all over the Caribbean, and this is a really international show. So I want to welcome all of you who are listening, and of course, here on the home front, On the Mark is the place to be on a Wednesday night. We value you, our listeners, and we value you, our callers. The show is what it is because of all of you. We want you to stick and stay with us every single Wednesday. You know, we try to come here and we want to interact and bring things to the table that we believe are of importance here in the Federation, and even more important than the things that we bring to the table. We open the mic for our callers, and we get your views and we interact with you because we believe that your views are very, very, very important views. Of course, at the top of the show, we always like to celebrate with folks who are celebrating. I already celebrated with the Honorable Mark Brantley, but other folks who are celebrating anniversaries, birthdays, the birth of a child, whatever the occasion is, you know, here we want to send a big shout out to all of you. Of course, where there are hills, there are valleys, and if you're up on the mountain one time, another time you might be down in the valley. And while we have a lot of folks who are celebrating, we have some persons who have reasons to be sad. You know, we have persons who are having the death of a loved one. And at this time, I want to remember my good brother, Astro. Astro is like a brother to me, you know, a very, very dear friend. He lost his father, Lavington Brown, affectionately known as Wappy. I think from the time I've known myself, I've always heard about the man from Brown Hill by the name of Wappy. So I want to send out condolences to Astro, to Trevor or Devi. We all know Devi, and to Theron, Chucky. I know Theron very well. He's around my age. To his sisters, Chanda and Cindy. To the entire family, all of the extended family on the loss of Wappy. Wappy is a Brown Hill man. He would have moved to the USVI back in 2003 or thereabouts, and then he lived his final days in Michigan, where he would have passed away just a few days ago. Sorry. So I want to send out condolences to the entire family, and especially my good brother Astro. You know, we are all here to support you, and we're staying in Brown Hill for the time being, and I want to send out condolences to the family of Lornette Thompson, and you know, the entire Thompson family. That's another close-knit family there in Brown Hill. To Lisa. Lisa is like my sister. Lisa is a very, very good friend of mine, very good friend of the Honorable Mark Brantley too. And I want to send our condolences from here at On the Mark to you, Lisa, and to your entire family. Landa works at the Department of Education, which is under my ministry. So Landa, I want to say, you know, heartfelt condolences to you, and to Suzanne also, who has been a teacher for many, many, many years. Condolences to you. You worked in the education sector for many, many years. Also to Rhonda. Rhonda I know very, very well, probably closer to my age. And, you know, and to all of the rest of the Thompson family, I want to send our condolences to all of you, from all of us here on the mark, and from me personally. To Rollins now, um, we have the death of Miss Marion Brown Freeman. Everybody knows her as Mary Brown. I I saw the Freeman when I was wondering, I've known Mary since I've known myself, very very long time. Nice lady, loving lady. I want to send out condolences to the entire family, her children, Julie. I've known Julie forever. Cordelia, Sturgy, I've known Sturgy forever too. Cavell, Julian or Babs, everybody call him Babs. I've known Babs forever too. Dixie I've known forever because we all went to the same school, so I've known them since I was a child. And Glenville, Dixie's a year older than me, Glenville is a year younger than me. So I've known them since I've known myself. So I want to send out my condolences. These are people I know very, very well. So I want to send my heartfelt condolences to you on the loss of your mom, and to all the rest of the extended family, the grandchildren, the nieces and nephews. I know the whole Rollins community is a close-knit community. So I want to send condolences to all of you. And to anybody else who, has suffered loss, if I don't have the information, I want you also to have our condolences. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On The Mark. That took up quite a bit of time because I thought that it was worth going through all of that. It's about time I welcome in my guests. I have two guests in the studios here with me this evening. First, let me introduce the gentleman closest to me, and he's the person who actually works closest with me on a daily basis. He's the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Education, Library Services, and Information Technology, Mr. Kevin Barrett.
Good night. Good night. I affectionately call you boss sometimes, but I'll say Mr. Lieben tonight.
And my next guest is the principal education officer in the Department of Education. This is a person who's right there on the line dealing with all of our education issues here at Nevis, actually running the Department of Education, a young person with a heavy load to carry on her shoulders. Miss Zanella Claxton. Zanella, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Minister.
Okay, and the ground rules for On The Mark. On The Mark is a very casual show. Okay? So normally you see how we would address each other as Minister and Mr. and Miss. So tonight on The Mark we have Troy, and we have Kevin, and we have Zanella. And because On The Mark is very, very informal, it's a place you see our callers call in and they would say Mark, and that's the premier bit. But that's how we like it. And when they call, they say Troy, and that's how we like it. So it's a very informal show. I don't want to deviate and formalize the show tonight. So tonight we're going on a first name basis. So the ground rules has been set
Okay.
for this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason for the permanent secretary and the PEO being here tonight is because we have quite a bit going on in the Ministry of Education, and I was happy for the opportunity to come over to host On The Mark show, and I thought that it was important that the PS and PEO come along with me. They're going to be here for the first hour, and longer if needs be, because we're going to open the mic, we're going to open the phones also. We just had the return of the preliminary, and let me stress on preliminary because based on what happened last year, there can be some changes, and all of the results have still not come back yet. But I think the PO will go into a bit more detail on that when she speaks. So we just had the preliminary results come back for the CAPE, which are the A levels, for the CSEC and for the CCLLC. And so we will impart some information on that. We have the impending opening of the new school year, and quite a bit is happening with respect to that, and so there's some information to impart on that front also. And we have quite a lot of other things happening in education that we can talk about. So it's a good opportunity for them to share some information with you, the general public. And then once they would have done that, we will open the lines for persons to call in. And if you want to call in and say congratulations to anybody who would have gotten back their results, you know, parents and friends and family, if you feel proud of your, you know, your student or your son, daughter, or family member or friend, it's an opportunity to call in and say congratulations to them. So we'll start off with Mr. Barrett. Mr. Barrett, the mic is open to you now. You can give us a little go ahead on some of the things that's happening in education.
Thank you very much. And as you have given me license tonight, well, I was about to say Mr. Minister, but as you give me license to address just Troy, I would say thank you very much, Troy. And it's a pleasure to once again be here in the studios of One Radio. This is the first time for me being on the mark. I know this is a show that is worldwide in terms of coverage, and I do not want this evening to be anything less than that, because as you said, there is a lot of things going on in education, and it's a wonderful opportunity for us to get some of that information out to individuals who may not be so in tune, informed as to what we do in education. But before I get into what I want to say this evening, I too want to express condolences to one of my colleagues in the department and the Ministry of Education, Miss Londa Brown, and the rest of her family, and the passing of her loved one. I would have expressed condolences to her personally, but I would like to do that publicly and to the rest of the family. I know what it is to lose a loved one that is really, really close to you. So I know this time is a trying and difficult time, but God is in the midst, and keep the faith. To Astro as well, a very, very good friend of mine. We work together on a number of things and projects, and we have grown to be very close friends. I want to express condolences to him as well, and the rest of his family. And two, I would like to express that he should be strong and keep the faith, and remember God is in all of these instances and situations, and he's never too far away for a prayer or two. With that being said, Troy, education is a busy, very, very busy ministry, department. We have schools, we have all sorts of things going on. But even before I get into what is happening currently, I would like to take a step back, and I would like to congratulate all of the schools, all of the principals, all of the staff at the various schools for a successful school year that has passed. I would also like to congratulate all the students who would have done the exams and would have passed their exams, and those who may not have done as well as they would have liked to, that they have another opportunity coming up in the new school year. And the graduations that went as well, those I think were very, very well executed. And once again, I would like to congratulate all those who had anything to do with the graduation ceremonies that we witnessed at the end of the school year. There is one activity, though, that I would like to pay some special homage and attention to. And it happened during the Child Month. And we had an event down at NIPAC. and the pageant that was held there for those preschoolers. I was delighted to see the courage, the bravery, and the execution of all of what they had to do, and to do that at such at a tender age and in front of what was a huge audience. I must say commendation to all those who work with those children to get them ready for such a performance. So congratulations would go to the supervisors of the preschools, all the teachers and parents and everybody who had anything to do with that pageant. Troy, I was delighted. I was happy to be there and to witness that. And I think that's the first time that they would have done that, and it was a huge success. So I'm not sure what will happen next year, but I must pay some commendation to all those who helped to pull that together. We think of Mrs. Florence Smithen and Ms. Donnie Lance and all those in the early childhood department at the Department of Education who work hard in pulling Child Month off, and also the rally. The rally this year, I've never seen a rally that was that big. I think this year we had an exceptional turnout for the rally this year, and once again, kudos to Mrs. Smithen and her team in pulling that together, and all of the preschool supervisors and everybody on that committee who did such a tremendous job during our Child Month. And Troy, I could go on and on, but I don't want to take up.
I was about to say that I already see that this
Come here, we
hour,
go-
this hour thing might not work out.
Right,
because
but
there's
okay.
so much things
So,
to say.
yes, and while we could look back and highlight some of the events, I would like to look forward now. We are at the cusp of the new school year, and in getting ready for that, next week we are going to be having what we call our back to school week, and that is going to be something to look forward to. The teachers, the principals, the entire staff at the schools. And when I say the entire staff at the schools, I mean the entire staff at the school. There is something that will be in place for everybody on the staff, and that is what I am looking forward to. I know over the years I have had some minor complaints, especially from my guys who are in the PE department. And they say, "Boy, Barrett, they do nothing for us," and I'm trying to imitate Mr. Emmanuel Keynes Richards' voice. He's the one who always, I remember, they ain't doing nothing for the PE teachers. But guess what? So next week, as I said, we are looking at every staff member and trying to do something, and not just one day. We are trying to spread it out for the whole week, so there is something there for our PE teachers for next week. And I must say commendation to Mrs. Renelle Daniel. She is the new school meals coordinator, and she has absolutely hit the ground running. And so she has put together a workshop for that she has called Coach Training Workshop, August 2019. So the PE teachers and the coaches, I don't think after this year you would be hounding me again to get something specially organized for you. Because, as I said, Mrs. Daniel has organized something especially for you. So you are not going to say that you have been lumped with the teachers and they just put you on to make up numbers and things like that. There is some sessions that are specially geared to you. And if I could look down on some of the things that I see here, especially geared to our PE teachers, I see things like sports and nutrition. And there's a specialist that is coming in to do that session, Mrs. Carol Brazier. I see Track It, Know Your Students, and I see Mr. Jamia Claxton is down for that. And I also see here the importance of good nutrition. And that is a session that is going to be jointly coordinated by the cooks and Mrs. Daniel herself. And I am seeing also physical activity, nutrition and health. And we have Miss Chevenin Nisbet. She is going to be doing that for our PE teachers. I see Start It Right and Dr. George. He is down for that. Know Your Students, as I said, Mr. Claxton is going to be doing that. Child-friendly environment and hospitality training. Again, we have our cooks in on that. And so we have a number of things that our coaches are going to be involved in. So this year, I am encouraged. I like what I'm seeing here. And the coaches could indeed say that, yeah, well, Mr. Barrett, I could see you all really trying to get us involved. And I am happy that that is happening. We're going to have a lot of activities next week. I'm going to allow Miss Claxton in a little while to bring us up to speed with.
You're gone back to last name, you know.
Zanella.
Old habits are hard.
Yes. You see, Mr. Minister, you have to bear with me because it's not easy to say.
You got to remember.
Zanella.
We're breaking habits here on the mark tonight.
Okay, right, good. And also, as I mentioned, the entire staff. So there is also a training workshop for the cooks. Again, Mrs. Daniel has coordinated that, and so many things I'm seeing here. I don't even want to venture to go through all of them. But yes, and this is a full week of training and activity for our cooks. So next week is going to be, I think, a good week. I think it's going to set the platform for a successful school year. We are trying as much as possible to do things a little bit differently and use activities and events that would actually give the teachers and the entire staff at the schools a boost, something to look forward to in terms of going back into the school setting and executing their duties and to be motivated and not be deflated. So we are looking forward next week for a well executed back to school week and all the events. As I said, the Department of Education has been working very, very hard in putting these things together. And I must say commendation to Zanella and her team. And I am encouraged that next week is going to be exciting. I would stay there for now. There are some other things that I would like to mention a little bit later, but I would stay there for now. Troy.
Okay, Zanella, over to you.
All right, I guess I should continue in the vein and just quickly give an overview before I go into the
Yes.
CXC stats. So the teachers, staff, the entire staff, they would all head down to NEPAP on Monday morning. They have to be seated by 9 o'clock for a 9:15, prompt 9:15 start. And the theme is Know Your Students, because half of teaching is to get to know your students a bit more, right? You have to know their likes and dislikes, their interests. And so we look at, during the sessions next week, creating learner profiles, knowing more about them than the grades that they're getting in class. And because students are more than grades. They have different elements and parts to them. And then straight out of that, we also have training for data entry, open system, data tracking system, those behind the scenes things that make the system run, but you don't get to see them because they're not the things at the forefront. Of course, we already started. We had training this week for our principals. We went through procedures, rules, and guidelines, and then we continue tomorrow and Thursday and Friday with training for the education officers who will be facilitating some of the sessions. So the officers head down to St. Kitts to do a federal training so that we have the same message being delivered throughout the Federation. So we can't wait to see everybody next week. We hope that you are as excited as we are. And I want to also add that we will be we'll be collecting a special donation during the back to school exercise. We know that Mrs. Tamisia Lestrade is a member of our team as well, and she has been diagnosed and she has been battling ulcerative colitis for a long time, and the medication costs an astronomical amount of money. And so we will be making our contribution, and so we're asking all teachers, all staff members, all bus drivers, cooks, everyone who comes out on Monday to bring a donation, and we will collect that, and then we will give it back to Mrs. Lestrade. The medication that she has to purchase has to be purchased every month. And so, as I said, it's somewhere over $6,000 or thereabout per month, and we want to, as a team, give our support to a member of our team. So we're encouraging all of you to join us in that endeavor as well. All right, so we would have heard some reference being made to the CXC results, and I know that the students worked hard, their teachers worked hard, their parents worked and cheered hard, and so many persons were able to rejoice and celebrate last week when the portals opened up and the results were revealed. We want to commend, as I said, all teachers and school leadership and parents and students. We have to underscore that the results are preliminary, and preliminary just means that they are subject to change. And for example, the electronic documentation preparation management subjects, the results for that course, EDPM, when the students logged in, they realized that they had an ungraded, and that was across the region, and that should be rectified during the course of this week. And because we don't have those grades, it's difficult to make a declaration as to who is the top or who's on top and all of that, and we don't want to cause any errors. We do have preliminary individuals who have been highlighted and who were highlighted last week during the press conference as well. But to date, we have Miss Tarana Kaka of the Nevis Sixth Form College with 5 grade 1s, and she was identified as the preliminary second place federally and top place on Nevis. And then we have Miss Pakriti Dutta of the Nevis International Secondary School with 8 grade 1s, 1 grade 3, and she's been identified as the top CSEC performer based on the preliminary results federally. So not just on Nevis, but federally. We want to also say that it is very interesting. The CXC has a criteria that has been set. And so sometimes you can have 8 subjects and you end up being the top overall best performer, as opposed to somebody who might have 12 or 15 subjects, and then people get irate and they say, oh, you know, almost like a Queen show, you cheat, you know, then you feel like your child has been somehow, there's been some kind of bias against your child, and we hear things like, you know, because we're poor, and no, but CXC has already set a criteria, and so the persons at CXC would send out the list of top performers, and that is what we use to highlight the individual who is a top performer. And I think this is a good forum to share that for those who have not yet signed up for CXC. Those who are in 2nd and 3rd form, and the parents want you to be the overall best performer in the region. The overall top performer must have attained grade 1s at general or technical proficiency in at least 8 subjects taken at a single sitting. So 8 subjects in one sitting, and they must include, listen up, English A, mathematics or additional mathematics, 1 subject from each of the following groups: French, Spanish, Portuguese. So far, if you haven't done a foreign language, you could be put down, a student who has done 8 subjects and gotten a foreign language is now ahead of you, even if you have 15 subjects. Caribbean history, geography, religion, religious education, social studies, English B. And so from that group, you would have at least one of those with a grade 1. Agricultural science, either the single or double award, biology, chemistry, human and social biology, integrated science, single award, physics, IT, additional math if you were doing it at the same time with regular mathematics, and then one additional subject from any of the groupings. So you would have to have English and math, a foreign language, history or one of the social sciences, and a science to be able to get that award. And so that for me was very enlightening throughout this process. We're trying our very best to highlight students who were able to at least write the subjects and to commend and congratulate them, because we don't want to spend so much time focused on the individual subject passes and all of that, because we want every child to get the opportunity to. But generally across the board, our students did very well. And we know that that would not have been possible without the hard work and dedication of the teachers and the parents and all those persons who supported them. We had some people, I know that the news item this morning talked about math, and we're consistently looking at what ways in which we can improve math scores. And so our math scores were not, they weren't terrible, they were pretty good. I want to say congratulations to the students who wrote and passed math. We heard lots of talk right after the exam about how difficult the exam was. And so we were seeing the junior and secondary school, we had 31 students writing the exam, 23 passed with a total percentage pass of 74.19. Nevis International 7 wrote the exam, 5 passed, 71.4. And of course we have a few more students writing the exam at Charleston Secondary, 71, 30 passed with a percentage of 42.25. And we're seeing our passes, English, Charleston Secondary with a whopping 84.52. Nevis International 75, and Gingerland Secondary 87.81. So these results help us to know what areas we can work on at a systemic level, and also, of course, our students to get the competencies that they need to be able to function anywhere in the world. And we're really producing global citizens according to these results.
Yeah, and Zanele, if I could add something to when you were talking about the math. I know it has been one of the areas that we have been focusing on over a number of years, but I don't think that I have had the type of I have heard the type of reviews that I heard from the students
This time around.
Yes. And I could give you a personal experience that I had even in my home. Well, my son, he wrote exams this year, and he believed that he's a real tough guy. He nothing could faze him. But when he finished his maths, the math exam this year, he said he feel like he could have ball. It was that tough, and he did extra classes in math and all of that, and I think that he was very well prepared. He ended up getting a 2, which I think was commendable. But to hear him give that review after the exam, and I understand that it was regional. I understand that
Yes,
it was
regionally. By the end of the day, you had everything on social media talking about the exam.
and then the math. But while we would have had that review and that outcry from the students and those persons who would have seen, done the exams, I am heartened and encouraged, though, that even from our own standpoint in terms of the ministry and department, that we are planning to target math as one of our areas of improvement for the upcoming school year, and we are in the process of planning how we are going to get that done, and so I am looking forward to the plans that we have spoken about and put in place to roll out for this year.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to On the Mark, Straight Talk Across the Narrows. I am Troy Liebert, your host for tonight, and I am joined by Mr. Kevin Barrett and Ms. Zanella Claxton of the education here on Nevis. We've been talking for 3/4 of an hour. We want to open the line, so if anybody wants to call in, ask a question, or you want to congratulate somebody who did well on their exams. We're talking education for the time being, for the first hours. Of course, when the lines are open, the numbers to call, 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. For those of you who are listening online, I didn't remember to welcome in all of our online viewers. So a big hello to all our people listening on, watching rather, on Facebook. Facebook is the new big thing, and on YouTube. So if you want to see us, you can see us. Go on over to YouTube, type in Van Radio, and click on the live stream. And if you're on Facebook, type in Van Radio on Facebook and click on the live stream, and then you'll see us. I'm waving my hands right now, you know. In the meantime, while we wait for the calls to come in, we can continue talking a bit about education. And I will go over to the PS, Kevin, and I want you to tell the public a bit about what we've been doing in terms of infrastructure over the summer, because over the past few years we've tried to do infrastructural work. You know, our schools, they house children. Children can be rambunctious. You know, these schools, they get a lot of wear and tear over the years. And if you don't continuously maintain, you're going to get to the point where you have to refurbish. And we are at the point where we have to refurbish. We're going to hold that thought and go and take our first call. Caller, good night. You're on the mark. Your first caller.
Good night, Troy.
Good night. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I would like to say congratulations to Zahia Walters for doing so well in her exam. And it's coming from her mom, Zero Walters, and her sister, Kitty Ann Walters, and the rest of the entire family. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. And we're sticking with the lines. We have another caller. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night. Hello? Caller, you're on the mark. Good night. Okay, we've lost that caller. We have another caller. Caller, you are on the mark. Good night.
Good evening, Troy. What's up?
Good evening. I'm good.
Hey, this is Ruffle. Hey, listen.
This is
I
whom?
want to say Ruffle.
Oh, how are you, man, Rafa? How is the weather?
The weather is real hot. Today was like 96,
Wow.
and it's supposed to be getting cooler by Friday. But that's all right. We got to work with what we get, right?
Yeah, I don't envy you with that weather.
I know. I want to say congratulations to the NIA. So they're looking out for the 4 season workers who are not working right now by giving them a little push, and that is very, 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 very good.
Definitely, you know, that's something that we made a decision to do some months back, and
that is very
it's
good.
just
very good.
happening now. So don't believe all that you hear. That decision was made a long time ago.
I don't, you know, this is, I know. We have a government in power now that would really think positively for both Nevis and Nevisians. You know, so.
Okay, man, Rafa. All right, take care.
All right.
We have another caller? Okay. Kevin, that thing about the maintenance.
Yes. We at the ministry we take the physical plant of where our students go day to day very seriously, and I want to commend you, Mr. Minister. Earlier this year, Troy. I want to commend you, Troy, because
Hold on a second. We have a caller.
Okay.
We have a caller. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Yes, good evening, Ty.
Good evening,
Thanks for the
darling. How are you?
morning. But all the children, they don't well to the parents. But I hope they get a good work. Yeah, tell Martin later.
Yes, you tell him happy anniversary.
Okay. Yeah?
You tell Mark happy anniversary.
Me no, but he was
Oh,
with me
his
happy
anniversary
birthday.
just gone.
Okay, tell him happy anniversary.
Okay,
Nah.
he hearing you. All
Okay,
right.
all right, see you. Okay.
Have a good night. Okay, go on.
Yes, I was saying that early this year, we would have had something that you would have brought to us, Mr. Troy. The school maintenance team. We have instituted a school maintenance team that has been doing a tremendous amount of work with with all of our schools. It is something that I know because I was a principal that is very useful, and it's an addition that was welcomed by all of the schools. And so we have had a lot of the complaints that we used to get, we have had those abated to a minimum. Things are still to be done. And currently, we are doing some work at the Gingerland Secondary School. We are doing some work at the Charleston Secondary School. And we are doing some work at the Ivor Walters Primary School. And I single out those three institutions because of the magnitude of what is being done there. But all of the schools are getting some attention during this summer period while the students are out. And I know the maintenance team has been very, very busy. Bathrooms, some plumbing on the grounds of the schools, some roofing issues, and all of these things are not just we send them and say, well, okay, go by the school and see what's happening. There is a system in place that I'm very, very proud of in the Ministry and Department of Education, in that at the end of every school year, well, in fact, the end of every term, but more so at the end of every school year, the principals would do a check at their schools and see what needs to be done. That is sent into the Ministry of Education. We have somebody in place as well to take all of those details in terms of the work that is to be done. We have Mr. Alex Percival as our foreman for our maintenance team. He gathers all of that information, and he sets out his plans. He sets out his area of priority and where we're going to go, what we're going to do, how long we're going to take on this school and things like that. So he has been doing a tremendous job. He and his team, they are doing a fantastic job. I have had some good commendation, even from persons in the public, because these guys take their job very seriously to the point that they have uniforms. When you see them, you
Yes.
can't mistake these guys, and they're proud of wearing their uniforms and doing the work for the children. And I must say congratulations to our school's maintenance team. For the three projects that I mentioned, we have outside contractors who are taking care of those projects, and they are working hard and getting these things completed as well. I had a vacation.
So I guess you can give the public like a better idea of exactly what is being done.
Oh, okay. At the Gingerland Secondary School, we are refurbishing a lab, about several labs there. But we are looking at the integrated science lab. Yes, I lost track for a little while. The integrated science lab, I visited on Monday, and I'm satisfied that the crew there, they are working very hard. I see a lot of work being done there. At the Ivor Walters Primary School, we are replacing the roof, and that work too is going and going very well. At the Charleston Secondary School, there are a number of things that we are doing there. There was I think they call it it's a lab as well, the business lab, and
Type in.
well,
When they used to type in.
well, yes. But even before that, Mr. Minister, when I went to school, that is where the library was.
Oh,
Yes, that is where the library was. But so they are going up another floor on that building, and that too is progressing nicely. They also demolished the girls' bathroom and erected they're building a brand spanking new bathroom, especially for the ladies at the Charleston Secondary School, and that is going to be I know that is going to be a beautiful addition to the school once school reopens. And so those are some of the major projects that we are doing at the
sixth form.
and also, yes, how could I forget that? Because, Mr. Minister, I didn't tell you this, but I was really hoping that we did some work on that. And so that too, I am very happy is happening, because I am hearing that my class of 87, they want to do a reunion, and that is the sixth form of 87. They want to do a reunion next year.
That's the sixth form that I went to.
Okay,
last
good.
year.
And
I'm
so
old enough to go to that sixth form.
Okay. All right. So I am happy that we are doing work there, and so I am hearing that they want to visit the structure, or well, the old sixth form, and to make a donation someday. But I'm not going to release too much of what they said they are planning. But yes, we are doing work on the what we call the old sixth form as well, refurbishing and making it better than it has been for a number of years.
Okay. We're about 7 minutes before the hour. Spoke a bit about the physical work being done on the schools. I feel very good about the bathroom. Bathroom is someplace that everybody has to go to. And the one that was at the CSS, I didn't like the conditions of it, and especially for our females, because the experience of a male going to the bathroom and the experience of a female going to the bathroom is a totally different experience, if I could say that. So I want our young ladies, when they go to school, that you're going to have a brand new facility. And so I am going to encourage you all to take care of it. I think it was last year or the year before last, we refurbished the one at the Gingerland Secondary, and we thought that it was only fair that the students at Charlestown Secondary, and especially the females, because the males had gotten a kind of new bathroom several years ago. Even though that one is going to be refurbished, we're going to be doing some upgrades on that one. We decided that the condition of the female one was at a position that we couldn't really restore that. So we've taken it down and we're putting in something new for the girls. At Ivor Walters, several weeks ago we had that terrible story where they were trying to give the impression that we had all this bat infestation, but there was some issues, and we took the decision to take off the entire roof. We have a caller, so let's go to the lines. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Yes, question. The male bathroom at Gingerland has been commissioned?
We've been working on it over the summer, so it should be ready when school opens. There was some difficulty because of the type of toilets that were put in.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have another caller? Okay. So I was saying we very happy to do that for the ladies at CSS and at Ivor Walters. We had some issues with the rodents and so on. You know, when you put on these roofs, the type of roof that was there, the animals they squeeze their way through. Over time, these buildings were done long time ago. So we've modernized the roof now. We've taken them off. We've put modern roofs on so that the bats, the rats, whatever other rodents can't get in, and our students have a safe place to come, and our teachers, they have a safe place to work. So in terms of infrastructure, we won't get everything done over the summer, but we'll continue to do things throughout the term. We have the maintenance team, as you said, Kevin, and the maintenance team. I mean, I've had lots of people call me, and most times they call me and they say, that's a very, very good thing, and most of the teachers and so on feel very good about it. And so I want to encourage them to continue to work. And the schools, if the teachers are happy, they will work. If the students are happy, they will do their work, and it makes all of us look a lot better. The Department of Education, the Ministry of Education, the government, and everybody in Nevis can feel better once our students are doing well in school. I want to, I've gotten several WhatsApp messages from persons who said they wanted to hear who got the the best results because they did not hear when it was announced a bit earlier. So maybe you can say that again for their benefit.
Okay, so the preliminary, according to the preliminary results, and as I said before, the preliminary results are subject to change. They're having instances when over a year, a few weeks or so, and you have a query period. You can query grades until September 11th. And so the preliminary top placer for Nevis, for Cape, is Tarana Kaka with 5 grade 1s, Nevis 6th form. And she placed second, she's a runner-up, she's placed second federally, okay? And then for the top student for CSEC, we have Prakriti Dutta of the Nevis International Secondary School with 8 grade 1s, 1 grade 3, and I went through the criteria that guides the CSEC process.
And just for the general public, we're going to come back once the results
It's
are
finalized.
finalized. We're going to come back and we're going to give a more detailed breakdown. That way you will get to probably hear maybe a top 10 and so on, maybe a top 10 from each school or whatever the case may be. But we will come back and we will give a lot more detail. In terms of education, I know we are just about at the 9 o'clock hour, but probably I think it would be important to give the public some information maybe on some of the initiatives that's going on in education. I know just this week when we had the opening of the sessions for the principals, that we handed over some stuff to the St. Thomas's Primary for the Early Learners project, and that's just one of the projects, and we have a lot of things going on in education, so maybe you can give the public just a snippet of some of the things that's happening in education.
Okay, so we have a lot of programs and projects, some of which are federal, some of which are regional. I think that let's start at home. The biggest project that we have federally right now is the curriculum enhancement process. Lots of people have complained over the years, the curriculum is too heavy, the children can't learn, it's too much, the teachers can't get to finish teaching, all the things that we've identified as problems. And so through this sector plan, the 2017-2021 sector plan, we identified that we need to look at the curriculum. So what we are doing now, we're trying to make it more student friendly, infusing activities. We have local writers, teachers, educators from across the Federation actually writing the curriculum under the guidance of a consultancy team out of Canada. And we also are setting things like graduation criteria. Usually your CXC results determine, you graduate if you have CXC, you have CXC, if you don't, you don't. What we're trying to do is to set the criteria where, for example, you might have to do, for instance, 18 credit hours to graduate across between a certain time period. You have to do some community service. I'm just throwing things out there. And so we're setting the criteria. We're trying to make it something that our students can be ready for the global market. We know that they have to be global citizens because the internet is is their playground, and there's no limit. And so we want the curriculum and the education system to reflect that. We also have the OESS, the OECS sector strategy, which our local strategy ties into, and it helps us to look at some of the areas that we want to strengthen across the system. Things like, which are some of the themes that they highlighted today. We have the midterm review going on right now, and so we had a session today, boys and how well they're doing across the system, the TVET projects, and I know Mr. Barrett, I'll allow Mr. Barrett to talk a bit more about the TVET project as one of the things that we are also involved in. Early childhood, and how can we strengthen early childhood straight up to, and early childhood covers birth to 8. So those are some of the aspects of the OECS sector strategy review happening, and the ELP program, the Early Learners Program, that seeks to enhance students' literacy and access to literacy, and help teachers as well to be able to assist their students. So we have a lot of professional development activities happening. And then, of course, at the office level, we're trying to really help our teachers to be prepared for the classroom, to be prepared for the various learning styles, and to differentiate and help children who like music, and based on their likes and interests, to get them to be able to be successful. We want all children to be successful. We want them to be able to reach their benchmarks. So those are just a few. If we had to even start talking about it, I think we'll talk all night. And so the TVET project, though, is a big project. It's a CDB funded project, and so we want to probably talk a bit about that and how far along we are with the TVET project.
Okay, I could add some information here. One of the things that the Tibet project and what we are trying to do from our end is to upgrade our teaching stock in the skills area, and presently we have 3 individuals who are 3 teachers who are in Jamaica at UTEC, and there are 2 more that should be added to that shortly. In fact, Mr. Shelton Fobbs, he would have left, I think, on Monday for UTEC, and he...
Pause a second, let's take a call. You have a caller.
Okay.
Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Good evening, Mr. Libert Troy.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing all right, I'm doing all right. Yes, I would like to call in and congratulate everyone, concerning the examination that they just did, and to continue and go on forward. Troy, I've been listening, to this show and different shows. And now, the people who are doing all this renovation and, to the schools and whatever it is, are these volunteers, or are people get paid to do these things?
No. The government has. The government has to pay for this.
The what you call it, the material.
We buy them at TDC and Hosfords and other places.
Right, but I'm hearing where is the money being spent and all this. So
Yeah. Good point. Good point. I like that.
No. I really have to ask. If you guys are, volunteering, or money has to be paid to get these things done. And as we know, labor ain't cheap in St. Kitts and Nevis or in the United States these days.
Yes.
So you guys just, really do what you got to do, because the chatter is out there. That's why I have to find out if it's a volunteer project.
So, we're going to address that, not to talk too much politics when the PS and the PEO are around, but that we are going to address that foolish talk when the time is right. And that it's foolish talk. In the next hour has started, but after the PS and the PEO leaves, I'm going to talk just a little bit about it, because we're not ready to deal with it yet, but I'm going to say just one little thing about it. But the foolishness that they're talking about is nonsense, and of course, all of the facts gonna come out.
All right. And you know, for over 40 years, we've been doing the Nevis dance here in the U.S.,
Of
in
course,
New York,
I've been to it many times.
many times. I would just like to inform the general public that the venue has been changed, right?
So
For
what's
the
the new
Nevis
venue?
dance. The new venue is the FUMC Hall, and that's at 2543 Marion Avenue in the Bronx. The venue has been changed. Tell one and all, whoever is listening, tell your friends,
State
do
the
not go
avenue.
to the old venue.
Say the avenue again for me.
It's 2543 Marion Avenue.
Okay.
And the performance, we're going to have the Universal Expression, and from St. Kitts and Nevis, radio personality and DJ Sister C. So it's promised to be a real large function this year. So we're inviting everybody to turn out, and whatever we do goes to part to the education department and part to the hospital.
I love it.
Very good. Thank you very much.
All right, so
Thanks
come
a
out
lot,
and
man.
give your support. All right, and thank you very much.
Blessings, brother. Kevin, you were.
Yes, I was saying that one of the things that we are focusing on for our Tibet project is the upgrading and training of our teachers to handle the skills area. And Shelton Fobbs, he's going to be doing electrical technology. And Tishelia Woodley, she is going to be studying in the area of agriculture. So those two individuals would be added to the stock that we have in Jamaica. And the Tibet project is I could say right now is really mobilized, and we are very excited about it.
Okay, so we're at just about 10 after. We're gonna go down until a quarter after the hour, because I think that's when I ended the. So I'm giving you a full
hour.
Full hour.
So if I may add, the scholarships are available for the Tibet, this Tibet
announce,
project.
Announce the scholarships so people know that scholarships are out there.
We want people to access them. The areas for funding, if you're doing a certificate and diploma in welding, cosmetology, or plumbing, an associate's degree in food preparation, that's home cooking, general construction, garment construction, fashion design. We have a lot of young people who are into fashion, agriculture, cosmetology, and you know almost everybody has their little line. I know this young lady, Rihanna Powell, launched her lip gloss line this week, and I think she might have sold out in about a day. So we have young people interested in cosmetology, plumbing, automotive technician or mechanics, and for bachelor's degree, food prep, general construction, agriculture, electrical, and electronics. So those are the general areas, and it covers a lot. You get tuition, housing, cost of living, return airfare. So it covers a lot of the expenses that you would generally have. We want you to come back when you're done, and to come back and teach and help other children.
It's important to state that the
yes,
Tibet scholarships
for education.
are geared towards teaching.
Yes.
So the persons looking to access these scholarships should be looking to come back
To
and to teach in the Tibet subjects.
So that those are, I'm encouraging everyone. The project, this element of it comes to a close, at least for now, unless there's an extension in 2021. And we want to have as many people going out during the rest of this year into next year, so that we can have a large pool of teachers who can then assist assist children in getting these subjects and help preparing them for life.
You want to add something? Okay, so we have 5 more minutes. I'm going to give you all a last word. I'm going to start with the PS, like a little wrap up before I launch into the other part of the show.
Thank you, Troy. It was a pleasure, even though I think it was short. It was a pleasure being here and being able to give some information to the general public, locally, regionally, and even worldwide. The Ministry of Education has education of our children at heart, and whatever we could do to enhance their environment and their surroundings and their comfort at our schools, that is what we are there for. And I want to wish the principals, the supervisors, the teachers, and the entire staff of all of the schools on Nevis a successful 2019-2020 school year. We are looking forward to great things going forward. As I said, next week we are hoping that what we have put together would motivate one and all to do a good job in whatever sphere, whatever environment that you work in regarding the schools and the school children. And we ultimately owe it to them to create that environment that they could learn. And so I want you to, I want one and all to help us to execute what we are indeed hoping for a successful upcoming school year.
I think I want my last words to be an invitation to all staff members to come on out on Monday and to make sure that you're at NEPAP by 9 o'clock so that we can start at 9:15 for the back-to-school convocation. And the theme is Know Your Students. We have one of the consultants coming in for through curriculum enhancement so that everyone can get an update as to where we are. And of course, we are going to try to mobilize and have a fun yet serious time with our teachers so that they'll be ready, energized for the new school year, our teachers and our entire staff. So we're encouraging all staff members to come to NEPAC on Monday. We're also reminding you that we'll be collecting a donation for Mrs. Tamicia Lestrade, and so you can bring that along with you as well. And we would greatly appreciate it, as I know she would appreciate your thought and of course your donation. When you bring it, we'll have a special section for that donation. So make sure that we are all there and enthused and rearing and ready to go so that on September 2nd our students can come out. They're coming out to upgraded edifices and facilities, and we want to make sure that we have our staff members matching that. I want to also just quickly say commendations and thank you to the team at the department who they've been working, as I said, behind the scenes to make sure all of these things happen. And I want to say thank you to the maintenance team. I have to jump in right here, and Mr. Percival and crew. He knows every time I see him, he just brings joy to my day because that's one less stress. And the teachers and, as we've said before, principals, everybody, they're so excited that we have this team on board. And so we want to say good night to all of you and thank you for all that you do, and we look forward to a very productive, prosperous, successful 2019-2020 school year.
Okay, and I want to thank both of you for taking up the offer to come here on the mark to bring this pertinent information to the general public. Both of you work really, really hard. Education is not easy. Education is the largest ministry in government in terms of personnel. We manage a lot of persons, and it's never easy to manage people. And so I want to thank you all for the hard work that you do in making the whole ministry look good, making me look good, making the government look good, and in looking after the future of the country. They say the children are the future, and so if the children are equipped with the right tools, the proper education, proper socializing, then the country is all the better for it. And you are the people who are handling that, and we really, really appreciate the work you do, and we appreciate you. So thanks for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark. My two guests are exiting the studios. Mr. Kevin Barrett, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, and Miss Zanella Claxton, the Principal Education Officer at the Department of Education. They're exiting the studios. It's just about 16 minutes after the 9 o'clock hour. And this is On the Mark. And if we don't talk a little bit of politics on the Mark, we won't feel good. So we're going to talk a little bit of politics. That's always important. Politics is in the air. Some people say it's already the silly season, they call it, when elections are in the air. So we hear a lot of yap, 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 and tap, 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 and talk, talk, talk. And as one caller already alluded to, there's a whole lot of talk about a lot of things. A whole lot of talk about a lot of nothing. So let me get straight into that. So the other day, there was a conversation. The Prime Minister came over to Nevis and he spoke about, some of the funds that have come over to Nevis. And I think it was something to the effect that to date, the NIA has gotten maybe about $200 million or something like that. And, I remember that prior to this CCM-led administration getting into government, that we had the NRP that was in government, and we had the Labour Party that was in government federally. And they were in a coalition. We had a Labour NRP government in coalition. And the Citizenship by Investment program started to take off. Everybody started to hear about CBI. You start to hear about CBI, Citizenship by Investment, and all of that. And I believe that I was the one who went to the House and spoke about the amount of money that the CBI was bringing into the Federation. Money on the scale that the Federation had never seen before. And what do people get for being in the CBI? What do people get for putting money into, at the time it was the SIDF? They get a passport. And what does the passport say? The passport say that you're a citizen of the country St. Kitts and Nevis, right? And at the time, money was going into the SIDF, and that was SIDF funds. And then money was going directly to the government, and those were processing fees. And we were able to show that, on the order of $200 million annually or thereabout was going into the government directly in processing fees from about maybe 2010, up and on. And we were able to show that a total amount of $0 and 0 cents came over to the NIA from the then Labour government. So that was the NRP NIA. They were able to get $0 and 0 cents from their partners, and nobody ever heard a peep out of them. They weren't representing the people of Nevis. They did not say, but wait, this commodity belongs to all of us. Our brother is selling land that belongs to all of us, so we deserve a share. They didn't come to the people and say that. No, they said absolutely nothing. They were fine. You understand me? They were okay with sitting back and racking up massive debts here in Nevis. They ran up an overdraft. The total amount of overdraft that they ran up in 5 years and 18 null and void months was about $140 million. So they were running up overdraft. Meanwhile, across the waters, the coalition partners had paid off all of the overdraft and had money in excess. They had balance on their bank account, while we over here in Nevis had overdraft. So fast forward to where we are now, right? The people in Nevis decided, look, these guys are not running the island properly, so we're going to get rid of them. Best decision the people of Nevis ever made. You understand? So the people of Nevis got rid of them. CCM get into government. Labour was still in government. Labour try hard to squeeze the CCM. They try to squeeze the life out of CCM. And Nevis people could see that to the point where one Wednesday, when Nevis people were supposed to get paid, you understand? Because we had all these overdraft from the NRP. You understand? They had the Labour government still had control of the bank. What they tell the bank? Don't allow the overdraft to go up to where you're accustomed to. Stop Nevis people pay. So all the civil servants in Nevis could not get paid. You understand? Could not get paid. They were very malicious against the people of Nevis. And who came out laughing? Those same people who the people of Nevis had just voted out. They came out laughing and say, ah, ha, 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 the NIA can't pay their bills. You know, when we were dealing with their overdraft. So now, the people of the Federation and the people of Nevis voted overwhelmingly for CCM and for our unity partners over in St. Kitts. And we got a unity government. We had the Charlestown Accord that brought three parties together to form unity. And one of the things that the Charlestown Accord said is that we're going to share, you understand, the benefits of the citizenship by investment program. So, here they are saying now that the NIA to date from 2015, so that's 2015, 16, 17, 18, and we're in 2019 now, almost 5 years. So over 5 years that we've gotten somewhere in the region of $200 million. You know what the first thing you're all supposed to do in NRP? You're all supposed to say congratulations. And you're all supposed to clap because you all got zero. And when you got money out of the SIDF, you got loan. And you had to mortgage the airport lands. You understand? So before you all start to talk, you are supposed to say, well, congratulations, because the NIA was now able to get something for the people of Nevis. But no, instead of saying congratulations, and instead of being happy that the people of Nevis can now benefit from our own citizenship, benefit from the CBI project, you're walking around and talking about budgetary support and so on. And I want you all to understand that there's no budgetary support anywhere. All that this is our share, right? Our share here in Nevis, right, of the citizenship by investment. Because when Canada decided that they're going to slap, you know, visa restriction on us in St. Kitts and Nevis, they didn't say Nevis people could still come to Canada without visa and St. Kitts people must get visa. They said St. Kitts and Nevis. When the outside world look at us, they see one people. You understand? So when we here with our division, the outside world see one people. And there's no reason and there's no need for this division. So if the citizenship is what people investing in, and they get in the passport, and they get in citizenship, then everybody in the Federation should benefit equitably. People of St. Kitts should benefit, and the people on Nevis should benefit. And shame on anybody who sees a problem with the people in Nevis benefiting from the CBI. Shame on all of you. So all of those who going on the radio and talking about budgetary support, shame on you. There's no budgetary support anywhere. This is the share for the people of Nevis. And our constitution, which is the highest law in the land, sets out, you understand, that the NIA is responsible for the affairs here on Nevis. So if the NIA have its own budget. So if a share is supposed to be there for the people of Nevis, is the NIA supposed to administer it? And I'm looking directly into the camera to say this, that there's no budgetary support anywhere. It is only our share. And you see, the thing is that I believe that our share should be a little bit more, you know. But we're going to see how the numbers come out. You know, according the numbers come out, we will see how it goes. Because I still don't believe that the share that we're getting is fair. So while you are saying 200 million and talking, I think it should be more. You understand? And we will continue to agitate for it. But in the meantime, and in between time, well, at least say congratulations, because we are able to get something done, and a lot more done than those who are in opposition now, who are banging their mouths. And they're up and down and they're saying, oh, well, they see projects, they see the Mondo track, which got a certain amount of money. They see the hospital project, they see this, and they're saying, oh, we see all these projects and they're incomplete. Well, understand, let me ask you all something. Let me ask the people of Nevis something. Do you all believe that $10 million could have built the entire Mondo track and build stadium and build everything? No, of course not. We understand how construction goes. Construction is expensive. So we got $10 million to deal with the first phase of the Mondo track project. That first phase has been dealt with, and we've had inter-primary over there twice. We've had other meets over there since then. We have our young people, our aspiring track athletes who go out there regularly to train. Well, what is wrong with that? So you all are going to begrudge the people of Nevis, the young people of Nevis, the opportunity to train on a proper track? Because the people of Nevis get a proper track, that is a problem for some people. And then you all are the same people who are going to come to people and say, vote for you all. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On The Mark. By the way, I'm having a good time here talking about this, but the lines are open. The numbers to call are 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. Of course, I value your input. Okay, so I'm looking forward to the calls, but in the meantime, until the calls come, I'm going to continue to talk. And on this $200 million thing, you know, because the numbers will come out, I could sit here and I could explain, and I could explain, and I could explain easily, because there's nothing untoward that has happened. The money has come over a period of just about 5 years, close to 5 years, and the monies have been spent accordingly. But you know what? Here's the thing. Year after year, we go to the House to debate the budget. And every year when you go to debate the budget, it says what money is spent. The money comes to the NIA, so it goes to the Treasury in the consolidated fund. And in order to come out of the consolidated fund, well, there has to be a good reason, because it has to come out from the Treasury. I can't go in the consolidated fund and take out money. None of the other ministers of government could go into the consolidated fund and take out money. So it has to come out for a valid purpose. Okay? And every year we go to the House to discuss the budget. We have a caller, so let's go to the lines. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Yes, I'm going to time.
Good evening.
Don't get so hard, because the Prime Minister work with us. So please don't give us so hard.
Don't do what?
Please don't give us so hard. The Prime Minister was there from the beginning.
All right.
Who the other guy knows? So please don't give us so hard. Have a good night.
All right. I hear you. All right. Thank you very much. So here's the thing. Every year we go, at the end of the year, we do the budget, and we go and we have a debate over the budget. You know, and the budget set out how the government plans to spend. But not only that, when we go to do the budget, you have the spending from the year before and the spending from the year before that. Now, the people who out there talking and asking all these questions, oh, we want to know this, oh, we want to know that. Well, they've offered themselves up for election, but you know what the problem is? The people have rejected them. They don't have any seat, so they can't come to the House to listen to the budget and to debate the budget. So that's why they don't know what's going on. The people don't want you all to know what's going on. That's why they voted you all out, because you were doing a poor job. You all were doing a terrible job, and that's why people voted you all out. That's why you all don't have any seats, and that's why you can't come to the to the budget, to debate and to discuss. And that's why you all can understand where the money is going, where it has been spent, and what has been done with it. It's as simple as that, you know. It is as simple as that, you know. But for the benefit of the folks in the general public, as the Premier has said earlier, you know, we're going to let them talk for a season, and then we're going to come and it will be as clear as crystal. Because if there's one thing about this CCM government, we are about the people. Our mantra over the past 2 elections has been people matter more and people matter most. And that is what we are about. So all this hullabaloo about 200 million, you know what you all should say? Congratulations to the NIA and congratulations to the people of Nevis for being able to get 200 million, right, from our citizenship by investment program, when they in the NRP couldn't get any when they were in opposition. Imagine they had to mortgage the airport lands. The airport lands had to be mortgaged, and they brought the money to Nevis. And when they brought the money to Nevis, they didn't put it in the treasury, you know. They didn't put it in the consolidated fund. They passed it through the Craft House. Craft House never see them kind of money there before. They passed the money through the Craft House, okay, and through NIPA, the Nevis Investment Promotion Agency. A couple checks went through Craft House, and a couple checks went through NIPA, because they did not want to put the money in the consolidated fund. Imagine, these are the people who come in to talk now. You have no moral high ground to talk when you don't pass money through the Craft House. The Craft House never see them kind of millions of dollars that came through there for airport land yet. Over $3 million, I think it was. Some through the $4 million, some through the Craft House, and some through NIPA. Did not put the money into the consolidated fund like the money should go. When money come up, the finance people handle the money. I don't know when money come up. They have the arrangement, whatever the monthly arrangement is, it come up and the finance people deal with it. And they decide, you know, how the money is going to be spent and so on. And it's easily justifiable. Okay, so off of that $200 million thing, earlier this week, I had the distinct pleasure of doing some work on behalf of the Honorable Mark Brantley, the Premier and the area representative for St. John's, the parish of St. John's locally, and for the parish of St. John's and St. Paul's federally. And Honorable Mark Brantley is overseas for a few days, and you know, school is about to open, so he asked me to go on his behalf and to stand in on his behalf to deliver the backpacks for the Believe in Yourself backpack program. The Believe in Yourself backpack program is something that was started 3 years ago. This is the 3rd year running, and what it is the Honorable Mark Brantley has bought some backpacks, and this is out of his own money, okay? And the backpacks say Believe in Yourself, and the backpacks are given to the schools in the parishes of St. John's and St. Paul's to be given to all of the students in the school. So about 360 backpacks have been purchased this year and will be given out to the well, they have been given out already. I've done the official handing over ceremony, and the backpacks have been given to the schools for them to hand out to the various students. So over 300 students are going to benefit from this. And as I said, this is 3 years running, and this is out of personal money from the Honorable Mark Brantley, the area representative federally for Nevis 9, which is St. John's and St. Paul's, and the area representative for St. John's locally. So I was very, very happy to go and do that on his behalf. Now, also today, the Ministry of Finance and the Treasury at the St. Paul's Anglican Church started the $1,000 initiative. And this $1,000 initiative is, the government made a decision several months ago, and I want to stress that several months ago, the cabinet of the NIA, I'm not sure if it was April or May, or maybe even March, but it was back in them times, several months ago, I think it was April, we made a decision that we would give a gratuitous amount to the folks who have been laid off at the Four Seasons Resort, and the amount that we agreed upon was $1,000. There was some debate about whether we would give it in 2 installments or whether we would give the $1,000 one time. However, we've settled on giving the $1,000, and that started happening just today. So I think today, close to 300 of the workers who were laid off at Four Seasons, with the closure of the Four Seasons, they were able to go down to the Charlestown Anglican schoolroom and collect those checks. Now, we were very, very happy to do this, and if you look at it, the Four Seasons is one of the biggest economic engines on the island of Nevis. So having the Four Seasons out of commission meant that, it would be a little lick, well, a big lick to the economy of Nevis. And of course, with back to school and all of that coming up, and we know that a lot of the workers at Four Seasons, that they have young children and they would need to buy books and bags and shoes and uniforms and all of those things, that we took that decision a while back that we would want to do something to assist them and to give a small economic incentive so that the spending would continue. Of course, these workers have been receiving 25% of their monthly salary from the Four Seasons itself, and the villa owners at Four Seasons have also decided to pitch in to assist with cushioning the blow of the workers being out of work while the renovations are happening. But of course, everybody on Nevis understands the reasons why the Four Seasons had to close. I mean, the Four Seasons started doing renovations, I think, last year in the summer. And what they found happening is that they started to get some bad reviews. They had committed to us back then that, they would try to keep the resort open while they do the renovations. They tried it, and it did not work. So in the best interest of the hotel, in the best interest of, an industry, in the best interest of a plant that has been here on Nevis and been very, very successful, they said, the best thing for us to do is to close down, do our renovations, and then open back up for business with a hotel that is upgraded, modernized, and, ready to compete with the new hotels being built all around the world. Now, who could argue with that? Who could say that there's something wrong with that? But the opposition, true to form in Nevis, the first thing they start to do is to laugh, then they start to gloat, and then they start to say, oh, Four Seasons closing this and Four Seasons closing that. And they try to use every single thing to make politics out of. The latest thing they're saying is that because they talk, they force the NIA to give the $1,000, but that is not the case. The decision was made long before we even had any talk from these guys. And such as the talk that they do, and they're preaching to the choir, because all the time I'm on the streets and I talk to people, and people say, well, we're not really listening to them, because they're just trying to cause confusion. We already know what they're out for. When we hear their message, what we do is we examine the messenger. and we know who the messengers are, and we don't want to hear the message that they are bringing. So while they're out there and they continue with the talking, they continue to preach to the choir that they have been preaching to all the time. Because good and right thinking Nevisians are aware that there is only one party on Nevis that has always stood on the side of Nevisians, and that is the Concerned Citizens Movement. Time and time again, these guys demonstrate that they are not on the side of Nevisians. Any little opportunity they get, you know, they want to laugh at people and throw things in the face of people. I mean, look at it. When the civil servants couldn't get paid in Nevis, you know, it was a big laughing thing for them. It was a big thing. Oh, the NIA can't pay their workers. And you would remember, you know, if for those of you who follow the House of Assembly, the very first speech that the former leader of the NRP and the former premier made when he got back into opposition, the very, very first speech that he made, he said he wanted to see where we're going to get money from to pay salary. Because at the time they were running a very, very dry treasury. They were racking up so much deficits that they were saying they wanted to see where we're going to get money from to pay salaries. But, of course, as we all know, it's history now, but the NIA has managed, and we have managed well, and we have grown the economy in Nevis. It is clear to see. We've had some setbacks, of course. Four Seasons closing, it's a temporary setback. They're closing to open back in a better position. Of course, just the other day we had the bad news about the Brownhill Communications closing, and that is something that they have tried to jump on and to take advantage of. Brownhill Communications closing did not have anything to do with the NIA. It was not caused by the NIA. It was not caused by the people in Nevis. It was not caused by bad service being offered by Brownhill Communications. No, those were not the reasons. The Brownhill Communications, their biggest, the persons who they serve, their biggest people, Bell, decided that they're making a change in the way that they deal with these things. They are going more technology, and they're going to deal less with call centers and so on. And Brownhill Communication was a casualty of that. Didn't have anything to do with the NIA. Didn't have anything to do with the people who were working there and the service that they did. As a matter of fact, the people there tried hard, they negotiated hard to try to keep the place open. But they couldn't. So Brownhill Communication has closed, or is closing shortly, sorry. We have a caller on the line. Let's go to the phones. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Good night. Good night to the Honorable Chai. Good night.
Good night. How are you, my brother?
Oh, man, I'm here listening to you.
Yeah, man, I'm having a good one tonight.
Yeah, man, yeah. It seems to me like you ain't getting much caller.
Yeah, but I'm batting because I have a lot to say.
Yeah, you have a lot to say, man. I hear listening, you tell you, listening, you have really a lot to say.
So what's on your mind?
Try, well, on my mind, right? You know that the Nevis government, you know, there was they joined with both parties in the past. And then get the treatment like where they get it now. You understand? 1980 with PAM. The PAM tried their best really. But this Labour administration now, they come in 95. And from 95 till 2015, that Nevis had to borrow money from the federal government. You understand, when they want help? And we got a CBI program that's selling out the federal passport. You understand? What I mean sell? You know?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. All right. And now this unity farm together, CCM, PLP, PAM, and this is the first time in history that any government in this federation of Stinkit and Nevis that work together, so hands in hand. And Nevis getting their arms open and getting help.
And some
So
people
that is
vex
the
about
problem.
it.
That is the problem. The
Well,
problem is that they never think it was going to work. Because when the Unity Farm, they were saying all kind of negative things. They never know it's going to work, try. And this is what Unity is all about. And you all is showing them what Unity is all about. When people come together as one, and you make agreement. Especially with the forces, with the Charleston Accord.
Charleston Accord.
You understand? They don't make agreement, and the federal government got to do what they got to do. You understand? So all these negative things they coming down here talking. Man, try you stay strong. Because when election come again, because they're playing hard here. They have nothing. As far as I can tell, they have nothing to offer. Especially with the crime. Look at it. These young men, they say they're gonna get the guns. They're gonna get the gun and try to stop, kill off one another. And the former prime minister going from the way they're saying all kind of negative things. And even people who supporting Unity up on different talk shows, they ain't glad for the crime is up. They ain't glad for the young man to stop killing themselves. They want the young man to continue to kill themselves, try. And then they get a joke and a laugh out of it and say that, oh, see what Unity do, see what Unity do.
You know what the problem is now? They can't go around and say that the murder's up. They can't go around and say that the crime up. And they don't like that. You see, they're not for the people, They're for themselves because they believe if crime up, people gonna say, "Boy, crime up. We need the opposition." So they can't go around and say that they want the young men them to kill themselves. So they're not happy about what's happening.
Yeah, but any educated people, especially some of these parents, grandmother, fathers, and mother who lose a loved one, who lose a young son, you understand? And see something like this happening. What do you want to tell me? They're gonna back up all them ignorance that's coming and the way they're talking, and want to go back to them? Want to go back to where they come from? Is them started? You understand? Unity in it. Nobody say crime gone on forever. Because in the country you could never get rid of crime.
Well, we are not saying that that crime is over or anything like that because you don't control people. But over the past few months, 6-7 months, we've seen a significant decrease in the amount of gun violence, gun crime, murders, and so on. And we can only say thank God, to God be the glory, and say let's hope that this thing continues.
Yeah.
Because for too many years we've had so many murders, 30 murders, 28 murders.
Oh Lord.
2 murders in a week and 3 murders and so on. And I personally know too many young men, guys who I grew up with, guys who I knew from I was young and so on, guys who I saw coming up, too many of them, murdered. I've been to too many scenes and seen too many white sheets covering young men, and it's not a pretty sight. I've been to scenes before the white sheets have covered young men, and I've seen how they look. I have stood over people and water run out of my eye.
Charlie, before go, I just want to big up Mortlin over there in Gingerland, Hilly in Stony Grove, and to Rootlin Hill, Sister Clara, and my brother Joseph Woolard, and all my fans in Navy. I just want to big them up. Mr. Politics here live and well, trying to bring the issues.
And you always do.
To the people them.
You always do.
And you all do not let none of them come and come full of head and hogwash. Do not let that happen to you.
Well, we're trying to stay focused, and we are trying to keep the momentum.
Man, yeah. Okay, try.
All right, you take care, brother. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On The Mark. We're about 10 minutes before the 10 o'clock hour. We've had a wonderful show so far. The lines, they remain open. The numbers to call, 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. You see, Because I was talking about the 300 plus Four Seasons workers. When I spoke about the Believe in Yourself backpack initiative, I made an error. And I said that it was like 360 backpacks. It's not 360. Sorry. It's 860. Okay? So it's a lot more. It's 860 backpacks that the Honorable Mark Brantley purchased. And, you know, it's a significant cost. This thing costs about over 12,000 US, you know, so it's a significant expenditure, significant personal expenditure that the Honorable Mark Brantley has done to ensure that the students attending schools in his constituency are well taken care of. We have a caller on the line. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Try good night.
Good night. How are you? I'm wonderful.
They're trying all kind of things. But the unity government got the ship keel up, man. And it's sailing well.
Wonderful.
So, man, they can't try nothing. Look here, let me tell you, Troy. You got to tell you I'm a rebel premier. That concert over NEPAC last year, we got to repeat it.
Mm-hmm.
We have to repeat it because we have to make a difference. You hear how a man down here got about crime? I tell you, you got a problem with blood. He walk off of blood. We don't know that, you know. He walk off of blood. So I say that to say this, Troy. You continue giving the Honorable Premier the support and the cabinet, all the rest fellas them, because we coming stronger than ever. As Miko say, St. Kitts and Nevis must live as one.
Amen to that, brother.
Oh yeah.
And
we ain't going nowhere.
They keep trying to separate us.
You see where you try down here, you try to get in the Rastaman them head now. When they got the march is a labor march, you want to turn it into, you know. They ain't gonna start with the Rastaman them. But you're gonna see them 15 as we go. As we set off from down by the terminal, they're gonna set in. But they ain't gonna see me because I can't walk with the devil.
So the Rastas are marching on the marijuana issue.
In Bastille, yeah. You try to walk around them, you know. You try to walk around them, but they better understand he. Try, let me tell you something, you know. White people run the sugar industry for 20 years, you know. And he want to come take over marijuana and put it in white people's hand because he run the country for 20 years, eh? And he was for Asian people, eh? And they gonna walk here, you know, one stamp now around, you know. So they could come with a lot of guns.
Well, you know.
So have a good night. The support. And God bless St. Kitts and Nevis.
Okay, thank you, brother.
Remember Tat. St. Daniel, all the men over in Isles, they fight right down here in Bastille Pier for what we are enjoying now. They're dead gone. I could give you more, you know, Benson. The one over where in here, where the latter land, the short man, where they call him? Short man, you saw from the country in Nevis. Man, he had a latter land in Nevis.
I know who you mean.
Where they call him? Call his name, try.
From Vicky Hill.
Right, call his name.
I don't like to call too much names on the radio.
No, but them is people fight for this.
Mr. Warner.
Them. Especially
Mr.
Columbus Cat.
Mr. Warner, you mean?
Right. Columbus Cat. Oh, he used to leg him out because you know he had a bass voice, you know, like Moonlight and a height. So when he talk with authority. Try, God bless the people of Nevis.
Thank you very much, brother.
Nevis must live as one.
And
we're going back there. We're going back to the bad man.
That is the way it should be. Yes.
God bless Nevis.
Thank you very much. So I was saying 860 backpacks. You know, this thing is amazing. The other day there was this issue about a judgment involving Paradise Beach. Used to be called Villa Paradiso. That they wanted to build 5 villas on the beach, and we gave them approval to build the 5 villas. we had to relax some rules. The rules had been in for a very long time, and so those were relaxed for Villa Paradiso, so that they could build the 5 villas closer to the beach. If you look all around the Caribbean and all around the world, people go all over, even down by Park Hyatt, where the restaurant comes over the water and so on. Beautiful. This is something that's happening all over the world. So a neighbor decides, you know, that he's going to sue. So the neighbor sues and you know, brings a case against his neighbor. It goes to the court and whatever. And the judge brings a judgment, and the judgment says that the owners of the property have 30 days to, you know, tear down the villas and so on. And here comes the people in the opposition, the people who say they want to be in government. As usual, whenever anything that they believe or they perceive to be bad happens to people, they are always the first to come up and start to gloat and sound the trumpet and say, way, ha ha ha. And so all of a sudden, all of them become planning experts. And you hear them on the radio. Well, people call me and tell me. You hear them on the radio and they start to talk about this and about that and all kind of things. Well, I made a little post on Facebook just to address the fact that they are so insensitive to their own people. Not really to get into any specifics, because it's a matter that is before the court. And we have to let the court process play itself out. I mean, we had a judgment before, we had a judgment from a judge. But that does not mean that that is the end of it, because we all know that the court has many, many processes. So I am not one to address the issue because it's in front of the court. But the time will come for us to address the issues. And all of these persons who have popped up and become experts overnight and really, really, really do not know what they're talking about, you know, when the actual facts come out, then we will see how the thing really goes. When we actually bring the law and we read it, and people actually see what the law says, then people will get a better understanding of what's going on. Anyway, the band has striked up, the music is playing, so that means we are at the end of this week's show. It's been a wonderful show. I want to thank Mr. Kevin Barrett and Ms. Zanella Claxton, who joined me for the first hour and 15 minutes. We had a wonderful show here tonight, and of course, this show is going to be rebroadcast tomorrow at 1. For those of you who didn't get it tonight, I want to thank all of you who listened and all of you who called in. You are who make On The Mark what it is. Do have a wonderful night. Until next time.